I would file that on the perfect pop music. Kelley Stoltz with Rennie's Car. Go on then, spill the beans.
I'm a young man who grew up outside Detroit. I loved music as a kid and, was a record collector, had a definite Anglophile bent, as you and I have discussed in the past. I'm not going to do my Mac impression for 20 minutes this time. But so I always loved music, and the wonderful thing about touring and making records is if you can get out of your house and go to another country, you find yourself getting to travel and meet different people. And I've met a wonderful lady in Manchester named Bernie. And on one of my early trips to Manchester, she picked me up at the train station in a beautiful, beautiful, shiny black BMW.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, Bernie, community service and helping the poor and doing good, it really is paying a lot more than I would imagine. Well, she said, no, Kel, this is Rennie's car. And I flashed back to being 15 years old, buying Stone Roses records, and it was just magical to think that little old me, here I am sitting in this deluxe leather, big, soft automobile belonging to Rennie, and how the hell did I get here, I looked over my shoulder, there's about 13 bucket hats in the back seat, so I'm pretty sure it was Rennie's car.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, so that was one of the just eye-opening, strange, how did I get here experiences of my life. And as I was writing this record, I had 11 songs, and you need 12 for a record, don't you? So
you need a hit.
You need a hit, and it was getting near the end, and I just remembered the thing, and a friend of mine came over who's not really a guitarist, a friend of mine named Fred, and he and I just were screwing around one day, and he came up with this great jangler, and the words came out easy, riding in Rennie's car.
It's strange, because on many occasions, I think artists have taken records to the label and said, here we go, it's finished, and they've gone, yeah, it's great, but it needs a hit single.
Yeah, I don't hear a single, right.
And possibly the greatest example of that would be Ziggy Stardust and Starman.
Oh, is that right?
That's what happened with that. But anyway, so you mentioned there of these kind of a series of events that just lead you to peculiar places that you didn't see coming.
Yeah.
We had Ty Segall, just heard him playing them from the session a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago, actually. And we were talking about you.
Oh,
but in a good way.
Oh, good.
But we were talking about the fact that you were, and we have covered this before, and you just mentioned, Marc, you were a touring member of Echo and the Bunnymen.
I was, yeah, three years or so.
Yeah, and I wondered how that came about, and he told me, which is a great story, actually. So if you wouldn't mind regaling us with that.
Did Ty tell you the story?
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder what his version is.
And Emmett.
And Emmett Kelley, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great guitar player, too, isn't he?
Yeah, brilliant.
I love the Cairo Gang, his band is big band for me. I was just a longtime fan and, started seeing them play in the mid-'80s because I was younger, but 84, 85 was when I'd first see them, and had my hair like Mac and wanted to play guitar like Will and wanted to talk like Mac, and spent a lot of time talking to myself on my couch, interviewing myself about my cat, Polly, who's the smartest cat in the world.
Right.
And so I did that quite a bit until I was, about 28. And then I thought I better maybe actually write a song. And, somewhere after a record I made called Antique Glow, which was an early, really my second record, I was kind of out of ideas, It was like, I may never make a record again. I'm just a guy making music, and I pressed it on vinyl because if I die, I've done it one time, and that's that. But I still had the recording bug, and I had a little room where I'd go, and I just was writing really, really boring, bad, nothing idea songs. And I just one day started playing, Bunnymen stuff, and I did Going Up, and I was like, "Ooh, that's fun. Okay, what's next? Do It Clean, that'll be fun, and then Stars Are Stars." And then I had an idea. Why don't I just do All of Crocodiles? So I recorded All of Crocodiles myself. I played the bass, the guitar, the drums. And somebody picked it up. Simon Keeler, who had put out my Antique Glow, put that out on his label Beautiful Happiness in, 2002. I did a gig. It turned out that Scott Canberg, Spiral Stairs from Pavement, was a huge Bunnymen fan. The two of us were old friends. We played Crocodiles live. It went over huge. We ended up doing it in New York. Will and the gang came down. They were playing Webster Hall the same night. That was a real weird experience, playing those songs with him, watching. My dad was there. My girlfriend was there. It was just another how is this happening moment. And we went to Australia, played it there, and we became the premier Bunnymen Crocodiles cover band in all the world, I would dare say. We had Dry Ice and, my accent, and Scott loves Will, so he was happy to be the quiet one on the side. So, my nerdiness continued, and I started showing, I was still going to the gigs, showing up at the side of the door and waiting to get an autograph. Can you sign my Never Stop 12-inch? I'm 33 years old, but still. And they got to know me as the nutcase from San Francisco, who was actually kind of cool, who loved them. And, one thing led to another. I got to know the band, and Gordy Gowdy, who was playing guitar, had an ill parent and needed some time off. And he said, why don't you get Kelley in there? He knows all the songs. And next thing I knew, I was getting a letter from management saying, here's the set list, and Mac and Will are dead chuffed, Kell. We'd love to see you soon. We'll see you. And I was in it for 3 years, and it was great.
But it's not a coincidence. And there is a phrase: you make your own luck, and it's your generous spirit and the fact that you just were doing it for the love of it that actually got you to that point. And anyway,
yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it was hard for me to not say you don't have to pay me.
Yeah, for sure. I'll pay you.
It was the rock fantasy. I was the guy in the movie who got to be in his favorite band, and there were ups, downs, light and darkness and all of it, and you glimpse behind the curtain, and sometimes you go, whoa, I didn't know this. It was like this, and you're also on stage playing The Killing Moon, and you think, this is amazing.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than this. Well, doing your own stuff is what it was all about, obviously, and that's where we are now. But I just need to add to this, you've done your Mac impersonation out there in the green room, as they call it.
Yeah.
You did your Reckless Eric impersonation.
Yeah, I'm not good at it because it was an entirely new accent to me, but I've just spent some time in Norway with Robin Hitchcock, Reckless Eric, Amy Rigby, Sean O'Hagan, Julian Coster from Neutral Milk Hotel.
Right.
All put on by this guy named Frode, who has a really cool band called I Was a King. It was in Egersund, which is a small little town in Norway, and the wonderful thing was everything was a minute's walk. So at 11:32 you could be in bed, and 11:35 you could be on stage, so everything was real easy to get around in this little town. And we spent a lot of time with Reckless Eric,
Well, he has got one of those voices that people do kind of mimic. But I have to say that if ever you did decide to hang up your guitar and your songwriting, please don't. You could go out, I'm sure, doing impersonations of, indie rock stars.
Yeah, wow. That might be a burgeoning thing.
It's just a thought, So you mentioned there about doing your second record before Crocodiles. La Fleur, I believe, is your 18th album.
It's something like 18, 19. There are a couple of side projects and things like that. But it's about
Is it your
18
best
or 19.
record? Is it your best record yet, do you think?
I don't know. I like them all, and I also listen to them and go, gee, I wish I'd done a bit better there, or I see where I was trying to get with that.
Yeah.
You know how it is. If I'd only spent a little more time on the words or played a better drum part or whatever, but I listen to it, I'm fully immersed in it when it's happening, and then I don't, it's on to the next thing.
Well, you mentioned Simon Keeley before. He's a big champion of your music, and he's a great fellow as well. So we'll dedicate the next tunes to him. So the album is called La Fleur, as I say, and you're going to do 2 more tunes now. So what are you going to do next?
This next, these are, I've just become a father, so I have a 2-year-old daughter named Dion, and my freedom and my responsibility went head to head for a couple of years there. It was hard to find the time to write the songs like I used to. She needs food and attention, and that was something as a 50-year-old man I'd worked very hard to be this lazy. My time was my own, so it was difficult. So I would find myself at 8 in the morning doing tambourine overdubs, which was like 8 in the morning. If I had to get up at that hour in a month, I would think about how horrible it's going to be in 29 days to have to be up. So now I'm a morning person, and I found how to do, how to write music, and maybe it's good on this record, maybe there's something to this record because I've kind of had to focus my time. So these are two songs that deal with both sides of the equation of fatherhood. The first is About Time, which is a little cautionary tale to my Dion, and the other one is called Losing My Wild, which is Dad saying, where's all the fun gone? I used to go out at night, and I'm losing it because I've got to take care of this little one. So it's...
You wouldn't have it any other way?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
No. Okay. All right. Kelley Stoltz, live in session.